Hey guys, and welcome to a showdown between two of the competition's most lethal competitors. On the left-hand side, we have Stormrunner up against Disco, so there is going to have to be a bit of a murder on the dance floor here today, as we have the Warriors of Chaos showdown against the Vampire Coast. Now, this is a little bit rough for Chaos, in my humble opinion, and that is because of the air game the VP can bring. You're going to be seeing deck droppers, you're going to be seeing Luther Harkin, and they can cause all kinds of problems for Chaos. Any faction which is really strong in the air tends to be quite strong up against them, but it looks like we have a trick or two up our sleeve with the Warriors of Chaos, so let's hop straight into this. We have double Exiled Heroes, or one Exiled Hero, sorry, and the other is a Chaos Sorcerer Fire. Burning Head, Flaming Sword Rune, and Fireball are the weapons of choice, but it shall be double Manticore, which is always a nice little play. And sandwiched in between, we actually have a Chaos Lord, a Lord you almost never see. He's not great in my opinion, at least on the competitive scene, but we'll have to see if Storm knows something I don't. He comes in with Stand or Die, Deadly Onslaught, as well as the Pendant of Slanesh, and does fire damage, which can be quite nice up against anything who does have regeneration or general weakness to fire. In the back here, we do have double Marauder Horsemasters, supported by some Chaos Warhounds of Poison. Both these guys should be able to be relatively effective at aiding the air game as well. In the main battle line, it is very thin. We have triple Forsaken, backed up by double Chaos Spawn, and because so much money was invested into this air core here, we do not have that wide of a formation, but it is certainly one which should be able to grind down the enemy quite quickly. In the distance, we have some more Warhounds. Now, for the forces of the Vampires, it is to be as expected. Triple deck droppers with handguns up in the skies. Their kiting boots are certainly going to need to be activated here because they do not want to tussle with these free flies of the opponent, though we do have Luther Harkin as well coming in with his glorious breath attacks, although it seems like he doesn't have taunt or any of his other abilities. Down on the ground, we have some zombie pirate deckhand mobs dotted all the way along, backed up by some more mobs, as well as the polearm variety, and their main job today is going to be protecting these bombers, which we have double of in the back lines, as well as the black spot and a carronade, so a decent amount of range pressure. Not the best map in my opinion for a carronade. I think this has been far better as a mortar or something because it is Alpine Ridge. Black spot, though, are so cool, like the most piratey pirate of the undead folk. We also have the Lamprey's Revenge. Regeneration, armor pierce, and 120 armor. They are the definition of tanky. Vampire Fleet Captain's going to be helping that as well, with Invocation of Nahek, but no Raised Dead, which is a little bit of an odd choice. I always love to see Raised Dead. I think it is quite powerful indeed. And it looks like the deck droppers are going to be forced away here by the Horsemasters and the air contingent of the Chaos Folk. And they're going to be driving forward. The Forsaken can have an absolute whale of a time against the front line, but of course will be dragged down by deck droppers as well as the bombers if they can't force their way through quick enough. And the Lamprey's Revenge are going to be pretty damn good up against the entirety of this build, apart from the skirmishers and the triple air threat. But I think the air threat is going to have its most of its time kind of spent chasing down the enemy, which is of course a necessity. Bombers do start launching shots, doing some nice damage to the Forsaken, but aided by the Hounds, they're just going to ramrod straight into this front line and get in it to ripping and tearing. A few of them even managed to push all the way through, but unfortunately running into a Vampire Fleet Captain probably isn't their idea of fun. Big Fat Burning Head is going to catch some of the bombers, and the air game is well and truly underway. We do see all of the buffs popped on the Chaos Lord, including Foe Seeker, allowing him to actually catch Luther Harkin, who's getting slaughtered up in the air, desperately trying to retreat. The handgunners need to be over here supporting and shooting in. In the main battle line, bombers are reaping a bloody toll upon the Forsaken, who are getting annihilated on the approach, but still are pushing through, and now they're finally into the cookie jar. Forsaken, some of them are biting the bullets here to the black spot. These other halberds really need to push up to aid and support, but one unit Forsaken in the middle are getting pretty decimated. Likewise on this left-hand flank, things are starting to go pretty poorly for the Warriors of Chaos, but in the air game, Luther Harkin was caught and put in his place, but now the skirmish is well and truly underway. Deck droppers can fire in from all angles, and Luther Harkin seems to be just about alive for now, but a fireball is going to be arcing through the skies over the top of these deck droppers, just giving them a little tickle on the back of the neck, and Luther does get caught, and he's on minus 50 leadership, and he's running the wrong way. His Vampire Fleet Captain is over here, and he needs those heals coming in right about now. Seems like for the most part the Forsaken are done for. 2 units are running for their lives. The 3rd unit not doing quite so bad actually on this right hand side, cramping down some of the bombers as well as the deckhand mobs. And with the air game, it's well and truly securely won here by the Chaos. It is looking very juicy for them. Chaos Sorcerer is getting kited a little bit and cross-fired, which is good to see here by the VP player, but I really don't think he was expecting such a crazy build from Chaos themselves, who are ignoring the polar mobs. You're not worth our time. We're going to hop on top of this carronade and try and roast it for good. Though there are more bombers now lining up shots, and these Forsaken could be in big trouble. Lovely little breath attack goes down on the Vampire Fleet Captain, and now the Chaos Lord is swooping around with the aid of the Exalted Hero to try to hunt down the caster of the Vampire Folk, because Luther Harkin somehow is still alive and supported by deck droppers here, but he is crumbling now. Down to just 480 HP, and that Exalted Hero is hunting his booty down. Getting an Invocation Heck on him could be pretty key, because the kite in the late game could go rather well, as the Lamprey's Revenge are still alive, and once again returning to the fight. But the Vampire Fleet Captain getting very low, and one big problem for undead factions is if you lose your Lord, it is devastating compared to other factions. It is really bad for them. Lamprey's Revenge do shuffle in now onto the Forsaken. Should be able to do a good job of mopping the rest of them up, and probably the Chaos Spawn. But that is a fully operational Chaos Lord on a dragon left alive here. And Luther Harkin has finally bit the bullet. Though deck droppers with handgunners are still unleashing shots into the Exalted Hero, army losses is getting dangerously close as the bombers getting swarmed by the resurgence of the Forsaken. It's so cool to see these guys in action, charging into the back of these mobs and dragging them down. Lamprey's Revenge is going to be coming with a counter charge though, which probably will finish off these Forsaken, but there are hounds amongst the bombers, and it is starting to look really rough for VP as some of their forces in the air do get decimated, and it's going to be a close victory there for the Warriors of Chaos. Very well played to Stormrunner and Disco. This was a fun, quite a swift little battle here, and a rather dominant victory, but I did want to show off that it is possible to take down that pesky air game that the Vampire Coast can bring. Many people consider it cheesy to go with an air core. I don't personally. I think, you know, they're units on the roster and you should definitely bring them. But in certain matchups, they do seem very abusive, particularly against factions like Warriors of Chaos, Norska, who don't have the greatest air presence, and their ranged troops, for the most part, don't really have any anti-air. They're kind of javelins and stuff, who don't have the best arc. So I think it is a good lesson in how to take down that air threat by Stormrunner, and that is by simply overwhelming them. Triple threat here of the free flyers, supported as well by a massive rush faction, because, cool, if the Vampire Coast want to kite your game, and Luther Harkin could have escaped there, pulled back, and all the deck droppers are running for their lives, that doesn't really matter for the Warriors of Chaos, because they can keep distracting them and chasing them down, and then you just destroy all the ground also really quickly with the Forsaken, as well as the Spawn, and then all of a sudden the Vampire Coast have to land, and they're in all sorts of trouble. Well played to these two champs nonetheless. Hope you guys did enjoy. We will get through the damage value and damage dealt in just a second, but if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a thumbs up, and make sure to subscribe for more glorious Total War Warhammer content coming at you every single day, or at least I hope so. There are links down below in the description to my Discord, where you can submit replays, get involved in the tournament scene, and chill out with a load of cool people. Links to my Patreon as well if you'd like to support the channel, and my Games Planet account, where you guys can get all manner of games from Steam at a discounted price, including the new DLC, Total Warhammer 3, and all that good stuff. But anyway, on to the damage value. How did they fare? Well, Stormrunner put on a bit of a masterclass here. 2.8k damage value from the Chaos Lord. He is a meme no longer proven. He is a warrior who is rightfully deserved of the title of Chaos Lord. His Lord Hero did good as well. 600 damage value, and the Sorcerer, 60 kills, 1,199. A really lovely Burning Head early on. Took out one unit of bombers, which was pretty huge when you look at how decimated the ground forces were for Warriors of Chaos. It ended up being a close victory, but certainly could have gone the other way if that Burning Head did not come down. Forsaken, massive kills. 129, 131, and 158, but damage value, pretty pitiful for the most part. Yeah, nearly 500 here, nearly 600, 734. It's not great, but they clear through the chaff, and that is the key here. We're trying to drag down the chaff as quickly as possible to force the air core to land, and that worked pretty well here. The Immortal Horsemasters as well didn't get the best value, but were both pretty much full health into the end game, so had plenty left to give. Chaos Warhounds did a good job just getting in the backs in the kind of late game there. Chaos Spawn did their job, helping Ramrod down, nearly 700 damage value on this unit, only 249 on the other, both going completely down. So Disco did a good job for the most part of dealing with the ground core, but Luther Harkin unfortunately got caught. He wasn't on skirmish mode or anything, and again, him caught early on was like a pretty early nail in the coffin, only 82 damage value on him. Vampire Fleet Admiral fared slightly better, 400 damage value, but of course only having Invocation Heck and none of those summons did mean the ground forces got overrun. Now, one unit Polums did pretty good actually, 879 damage value. The bombers 400, 879 and 531, not too shabby, and the Black Spot themselves getting 400 damage value. The Air Corps really did suffer, one unit doing quite good with the 800 damage value, but the others 295, 423, really quite suffering. Likewise, the Carronade probably not the best choice on this map. As for the Lamprey's Revenge, 1,200 damage value and basically being full health at the end of the game, they had so much left to give, but the rest of their army just crumbled around them. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed. Until next time, peace, peace. And as always, stay awesome.